Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
An airborne car rips through a Rockford home, killing the driver. The crash caused a separate issue impacting dozens of people.
Shootings and murders get a lot of attention, which they should, but these traffic fatalities are every bit the risk to public safety that violent crime is.
18 people have died in Winnebago County in less than 6 months. Law enforcement officers paint the picture of what could happen if you choose to drink and drive.
Lawmakers in the Senate debate on the January 6th commission. I'm Basil John reporting in Washington, why some see it as a necessity and others stand against it.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. A driver is killed after smashing into a home in Rockford. This happened just before 10 last night on Kilburn Avenue near Tate Road. Investigators tell us the car was headed south on Tate when it flew off the road into the air and hit a house. The driver died on scene. The home's natural gas meter was ripped off during the crash. Neighbors within a quarter mile of the area were forced to evacuate until NICOR had the leak under control. Everyone in the home made it out okay. The driver's name has not been released. That is the 18th life lost in the crash in Winnebago County this year. That's more than all of last year when 15 people died in wrecks. To keep that number from growing, state-line police agencies are pleading with the community to drive safely this Memorial Day weekend. Drivers can expect to see more officers out on the road. Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Caruana says people need to be aware of the devastating consequences drunk driving can have.
When you're out there and you actually see the tragedy that occurs, and you're pulling dead bodies out, and the smell of burning rubber and the engine smell, and just people crying and screaming and stuff, it's just not a pretty sight. It's something that always will stay with you.
The sheriff adds drivers should always avoid the fatal four: drinking and driving, distracted driving, not wear a seatbelt, and speeding. A late-night fire leaves 3 people without a home. This happened yesterday around 11:45 at a house on 18th Street in Rockford. Fire crews made it on scene within minutes of getting the emergency call. First responders reported smoke and flames coming from the first floor. One person was rushed to the hospital for smoke inhalation. Firefighters had the blaze under control within 20 minutes. The fire caused roughly $20,000 in damage. The Red Cross is helping the family. This spring, the weather isn't the only thing heating up. The local housing market has been on fire this year. In April, Rockford area homes were at their highest price in history. But despite that, more than 380 homes sold last month. Realtors say buyers have been taking part in bidding wars more than ever, some even offering $20,000 over asking price. And the data shows if you want to list your house, chances are you'll sell it within 1 month. One of the main contributors to the hot market are interest rates, slightly more than 3%. It hasn't made more sense to put down roots in a long time. Rachel Perry spoke with a local real estate expert to see what else is driving folks to pack up and move. Rachel?
I think they'll probably go up a little bit, but I don't want people to panic.
Interest rates on a 30-year fixed mortgage were just over 3% in April. Pat O'Gorman, Senior Vice President of Stillman Bank, doesn't believe they'll skyrocket anytime soon.
I don't think we will see the interest rates, in the double digits or anything like that. I think they'll stay in the low to mid 3s.
Those low interest rates have some rushing to buy a house, leaving the market with extremely low inventory.
It's so low. I mean, it's unbelievably low. So I would say we have never been lower in terms of our overall inventory.
Connor Brown is the CEO of Rockford Area Realtors. He says in the Winnebago, Boone, and Ogle County area, there's only a month's supply of houses.
In fact, we probably would welcome, right now, some foreclosures in the market.
And that a large demand means buying a home comes at a higher price. The area has seen a 14% increase in the selling price. That's $20,000 more than last year. But both Brown and O'Gorman say it's still a good time to purchase.
We're still incredibly affordable, and we're one of the most affordable markets in the country.
You could buy a house in the Rockford area, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, for $750 to $800 a month, and that's what rent's going for.
Brown says he does not see the housing prices dropping anytime soon. Mimi?
All right, thanks, Rachel. The Illinois Attorney General says child exploitation online has grown during the pandemic. Kwame Raoul, Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly, and other organizations are creating awareness about the issue. Last year, more than 5,000 cyber tips filed with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Experts predict that number will grow by 16% this year. While most reports involve adults abusing kids, the center also saw an increase in reports from Snapchat and Instagram involving children sharing minors' self-produced content.
We saw that kids who are remote from their friends seeking relevance and/or their relationships, there was an increase in sexting. Elementary age, we saw some youth who are self-exploring, getting in front of Google, YouTube, right? So again, having those conversations with our children.
Experts say parents should look for red flags, like if their child has an online relationship or if they have multiple accounts on a single social media app. Lawmakers in the U.S. Senate are set to debate and vote on a 9/11-style commission to look into the deadly January 6th riot at the Capitol. The House approved the measure last week. Now, as our Washington correspondent Basil John reports, supporters face an uphill battle.
We need to put a stop to this cancer in the Republican Party.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democrats are pushing to establish a commission to investigate the January 6th attack, in spite of Republican opposition.
We need to stand up to the big lie. We must get at the truth and do everything in our power to restore Americans' faith in our elections.
Schumer says Republicans worry going against former President Trump could hurt the GOP during midterm elections.
We have to investigate, expose, and report on the truth.
Washington Republican politicians in the House and the Senate genuflect at one altar, and that's the altar of Donald Trump.
Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey says all Republicans care about is falling in line with the former president's demands.
He knows that if this goes forward, there'll be tough questions that he will have to answer.
However, Republicans say criminal investigations into the rioters are already enough to produce any needed information.
I do not believe the additional extraneous commission that Democratic leaders want would uncover crucial new facts or promote healing.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says he'll support the work of the criminal justice system as more people are arrested, but does not think lawmakers should spend any more time on the subject.
And I'll continue to urge my colleagues to oppose this extraneous layer when the time comes for the Senate.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
A state-line summer destination's taking steps to be more inclusive. Anderson Japanese Gardens is creating walkways for everyone. That means creating accessibility for the disabled community. Some gravel paths have been replaced with concrete. The change is especially heartwarming for Ramp Executive Director Carolyn Morris. She says the walkways open up a whole new experience for those who might not have been able to visit the gardens before.
Having these pathways be accessible is fantastic, both for the disability community and for our aging community who finds themselves in a disabled position. So it's thrilling to have access and to know that, you know, just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean that you can't come out and enjoy this beautiful asset in our community.
Morris adds 1/4 of the Rockford community has some form of disability. One of Northern Illinois' best kept secrets is right here on Rockford's west side. Elliot Grandia takes us to Tinker Swiss Cottage in this week's Destination Illinois Encore.
Just inside city limits. Look back in time.
We still have the imprint on the floor where the old potbelly stove sat.
Tinker Swiss Cottage. It's a destination for history buffs and anyone interested in experiencing life as it was back in the old Victorian era.
Built his cottage between 1865 to 1870.
It's built by a man named Robert Tinker.
So Robert Tinker was what we like to joke around as Shark Tank of Rockford.
And it's not hard to see why. He helped run an oatmeal company, a steel company, a railroad company, even serving a term as mayor. And the list goes on.
So this guy just kind of had his hands all over the city.
Robert built this cottage, and we use that term loosely. It's actually a 22-room mansion, but he built it as a winter getaway for him and his wife, who also had a mansion just upstream on Kent Creek. modeling it after a trip overseas.
He fell in love with Swiss architecture as he was traveling in Europe in 1862, and so we're actually one of just a very small handful of homes still left in America that were modeled after a Swiss chalet.
And it's not just the unique architecture that draws in big crowds.
98% of what you see in the house is actually from the Tinker family. So it's basically like they just got up and left one day. So everything you see on display is from this one family.
And speaking of the Tinker family, many visitors claim, including our own tour guide, that their spirit lives on inside this cottage.
Occasionally we'll hear them whispering or humming. You'll hear footsteps. The dresses, you know, from the old Victorian era dresses, they'll make that swishing sound, so you'll hear that sometimes.
So whether you're into ghosts or maybe artifacts over 100 years old preserved in mint condition, Tinker Swiss Cottage offers nearly 24 rooms to explore.
Now, your first warm weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, today feels and looks nothing like what it did yesterday. The cloud cover, the chilly, wind-driven rain showers here for us this afternoon. A live look with our Mercial SkyTrack camera out of the Poplar Grove Airport, kind of looking to the east and northeast. You see the clouds thickening up a little more to the north as we've got a few rain showers falling just north of the state line. Those showers, what came through here earlier this afternoon. It'll break in some of that activity, although some drizzle and a couple of lighter showers possible over the course of the next couple of hours. But the big story, that temperature difference, 40s and 50s for us. We're at 47 in Freeport, 50 in Rockford, and 49 chilly degrees in Rochelle. You factor in that east and northeasterly wind that's been gusting in at times close to 30, and that's really brought that chill down here for us this afternoon. 47 for our weather watcher Ken in Belvedere, 51 for Bob in Rockford, 46 for Ben in South Beloit, and Mike checking in north of Forston also at 46 degrees. A more March-like afternoon. Here's the rain that came through, kind of that initial band lifting up to the north. Didn't see more than a couple tenths of an inch of rain from that. And while we've got a little bit of a break, we'll continue to see a few additional showers kind of fire up as that low pressure system now near the Iowa-Missouri border, that will continue to move to the east. That warm front down to the south going to be the focus for some additional thunderstorms. That'll be likely later this evening, but mostly staying to our south. Look at that temperature difference too, that chilly east-northeasterly wind. You've got the southerly wind where temperatures downstate warming well into the 70s. But it's the area outlined from southeast Iowa into west central Illinois that will have to watch kind of along and south of that front where we're starting to see some clearing take place for a few vigorous thunderstorms that could fire up. Not anticipating any of that here for us locally, but as that low pressure system moves closer to us, we'll likely see an uptick in some of the rain and isolated thunderstorm activity about 7, 8, 9 o'clock here this evening. We'll hang on to a few light showers then that'll carry us through the midnight hour and then into early tomorrow. Another uptick in some of the rain during the afternoon. It's not going to feel nice tomorrow at all. Winds are going to be gusty. You've got rain showers that'll be coming down and temperatures that'll be in the low 50s. It'll be a good day to stay inside, I think. Not the best days to be out and about. We'll hold on to some of those showers through the evening hours, but we do clear out late Friday and early Saturday. So a rebound in our temperatures here and the weather conditions for Saturday and Sunday. Let's talk about those numbers as high pressure works up to the north. We've got that easterly wind keeping temperatures along the lake shores in the 40s and low 50s likely for us during the afternoon tomorrow. In fact, 46 degrees is our record cold high. So the coldest high temperature we've ever felt on that day. Forecast high for tomorrow, 51. So we're not that far away from that. 45 degrees, that's where we had for the overnight. Still going to hang on to that wind. That wind does not ease up, and that will continue into tomorrow. 51 for tomorrow afternoon, a very March-like kind of raw day. Temperatures near 40 degrees Friday night, and depending on how quickly we clear out from some of the cloud cover, might see some patchy frost in some low-lying spots Saturday morning. 70 Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and then we're back into the 70s. Just a few isolated showers and thunderstorms going into next week.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Lepper.
It's great that arenas and stadiums are filled or close to it again with fans, but we've seen an ugly pattern playing out this week of fans becoming unruly. It started at the PGA Championship with fans swarming Phil Mickelson and Brooks Koepka, even bumping into the two golfers. It continued in the NBA playoffs last night. Here a Knicks fan standing 2 rows from the court spits on the back of Hawks guard Trae Young. Now, Young didn't seem to really notice it too much, but there's no disputing it happened. And in Philadelphia, a young 76ers fan dumped a box of popcorn on Wizards star Russell Westbrook as he was headed to the locker room with an ankle injury. Westbrook had to be restrained by security from going into the stands after the fan. Today, the 76ers announced that popcorn fan has been banned from attending all future games at the Wells Fargo Center and all other events held there. The folks at Madison Square Garden have done the same with the Knicks fan who spit on Young. Players around the NBA are outraged by these two incidents. These players need to be protected. Just because fans pay big money for tickets doesn't give them the right to hurl things at the players, coaches, or officials. They can boo and heckle all they want, but that's it. The safety of the players has to come first. And fans who cross the line deserve to be banned from games. Hopefully other fans will take note of what's happened to these two fans. And the Packers have a little more salary cap relief, and they have Dean Lowry to thank for that. The Rockford native has agreed to restructure his contract. Lowry is due to make a little more than $4 million this season in base salary. More than $3 million of that has now been converted into a signing bonus. That reduces Lowry's overall cap hit of $6.3 million to $3.8 million. That doesn't mean the Packers can turn around and trade for a star player like, say, Falcons receiver Julio Jones, but it does help. And in the long run, Lowry still gets paid what he's got coming to him, but his willingness to restructure shows again he's a team player. It's also better than the alternative of Lowry potentially getting released by the Packers. I'm not saying that would have happened, but it could have happened. Lowry's under contract for one more season after this one, and this will be a key year for him to continue to show his value to the Packers. He already has taken one step in that direction by redoing his contract. That's my take. We'll be right back.
First Warn Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and more. A little break in some of the lighter rain we had from earlier today, and some clearing possible to the south. A few additional showers later this evening, isolated thunderstorm, and then a wind-driven rain tomorrow afternoon.
All right, thanks, Candace, and thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.